Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Kime, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? How you been enjoying these past couple of days off, man?
Man, I've been enjoying them very much, thank you. And I got to tell you, man, the key word today is 5. And I'll just leave it at that. 5.
I think our listeners can kind of guess what that 5 stands for, man. So if anyone has a guess, tweet Rally with your guess at Rally Captain on your socials and see if you get it right.
Please do.
So,
you might get a prize.
Yeah, man. We've been giving prizes out, and Rafael Rubio ended up winning the Doja Cat tickets, and he took his kid out to the concert. I don't know how old his kid is, so I'm assuming he's old enough to appreciate Doja Cat and
or she.
Or she. I think it was his son, because he said his son followed the show now. But he sent me a video, and it looked like they had a good time. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, shame on you for not, paying attention to past shows. But make sure you follow our Instas, our Twitters. I'm not calling it X, but we're going to be giving away Wizards tickets, Caps tickets, concert tickets, just as we get them to people that listen to the show. And we really appreciate Rafael. He is definitely a P1, and glad to see that he took advantage of it. And none of this would be possible without our boys over at Don't Sleep Energy, man. And have I told you what Mrs. Tailgate has me doing on Saturday?
No, you haven't, but I am anxiously awaiting to hear what she's got you doing on Saturday.
Yeah, man. So if anyone knows me, they know I don't like country music, right? I'm a Biggie Smalls guy, old school hip hop, like R&B. Just, I didn't even know who Rod Wave was. I still don't know who Rod Wave is. But she's got me going to Baltimore at CFG Arena to go listen to some band called Old Dominion.
Okay.
So this is going to be Saturday night. I'm going up to Baltimore, which, number one, I don't like Baltimore. And it's the night before a tailgate. So I'm going to be dragging ass. And Mike, if you're listening to this right now, which I hope you are, I'm going to need a case of Don't Sleeps for the tailgate on Sunday morning, because I am going to be exhausted after coming back from this concert that I know nothing about. And all I know is we've been listening to it on Spotify the past week and a half. So I'll at least know a song when I'm up there.
At least a hit, right? That's all you need is one good hit, and then you can lip sync the rest. But I got to ask you, what size shoe do you wear?
11 and a half.
Okay. I might have to let you borrow my cowboy boots.
No, man, I'm not. So we got a lot of feedback from that picture of you in those boots. Zero chance you will ever see me in cowboy boots. I got steel toes. I'm not wearing cowboy boots.
Oh, man. I tried, ladies and gentlemen. I tried.
Yeah, unless there's like a horrible bet that I make with maybe our Cowboys podcast or something, you will never catch me in those boots. And the way our team's playing right now, I'm not betting on them at all.
Hey, man, it's called life.
It is.
When it comes down to it, I get ridiculed so much, especially on social media. You're still spending your money to go see a losing product and yada 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 yada. They just haven't graduated to the level where I am, and it's the whole experience. I tried to explain it to them. They don't want to buy it, and you know what? I'm not selling it anymore. Let me have my fun the way I have my fun, and you can have your fun the way that you want to. So, but I'm very interested to hear about this Old Dominion concert.
You'll hear about it.
Baltimore.
Trust me, when I see you on Sunday, you'll hear about it.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I've got people asking me the same thing. Like, well, I actually had a couple of media people text saying, hey, are you guys tailgating on Sunday? It's like, I'm breathing, I'm tailgating. So I'm going to be there. And I don't care if, it's a home game. I'm going to start my prep on Friday and plan accordingly. She comes to a bunch of games that she doesn't want to go to. The least I can do is go to a country concert that I definitely don't want to be at. But yeah, it is what it is. But last night we did dinner with a couple in town, like in our neighborhood, I could just walk to. And there was a new couple there. Like, oh, I've never seen you in the neighborhood before. It's like, I realized I don't talk to my neighbors because I don't want to talk football with them. I don't want to talk anything sports, anything Commanders. And we're hanging out at dinner, and it's like, oh, what do you think about the name? Oh, what do you think about the coach getting fired and this and that? I'm like, can we talk about like the weather, Premier League soccer, something else? Because I don't want to talk about this stuff with people that don't really know what they're talking about. It's different. You're my brother and you know exactly what's going on, but strangers feel like they gotta, act like they know what's happening and then try and chime in. And I don't have time for those conversations at this point.
You're like, no, enough is enough. Pass the potatoes.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yes, Jack Del Rio got fired. Rivera's going to get fired. They're all going to get fired. Not trying to be morbid about it, but our team sucks. And I put money on them to cover the spread at 14.5, and we didn't. So, we'll see what happens.
Bitter, huh?
14.5 points, man. I mean, that's a lot of points for other teams. I mean, and right now, what is it? The Dolphins are favored by 9.5. I'm actually shocked because the Cowboys are first in the league in points per game. The Dolphins are second at 30. I want to say 30.5 points per game. So maybe it's that FedEx Field home field advantage. I don't know.
Well, they know that Ron is just a superior defensive play caller, and he's going to have the troops ready to go and maybe even squeak out a win.
What you talking about, Willis?
Well, that is true. I mean, Ron is going to be calling the plays on defense.
Yeah.
And Richard Rodgers, it is a new day. It's definitely a new day. And we've been going over and listening to different press conferences, and we just got done listening to his Wednesday presser. For those wondering, it's Wednesday the 29th at 4:36. Ron said that he's dumbing down, without using the word dumbing, but he is going to simplify the defense. And he talked about it on his press conference on Monday, that who you have is who you have. You're not switching off. You're not passing guys off to another guy. So it is going to be a very simple defense compared to what it was with Del Rio and Wieselmeyer. And is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know, because to me, if you simplify it, it's going to be easier for the quarterback you're going against to pick it apart. But if your guys aren't even catching on, and we saw how many times guys were wide open, then simplifying it probably is the right thing to do. What do you say?
Brother, I'm a firm believer of muscle memory. And the minute that you try to do that and a situation occurs that reminded you of weeks prior, I think you're going to revert back to what you remembered and do something different. And I think it's going to come back and bite you. Muscle memory is huge in this league, man. And I could be wrong. I mean, I never played, but I just think about my job and what you do repetitively, and it could come back to bite you. Now, I would love for people to say, "Rally Captain, you were wrong." I would love that. But I just got to tell you, muscle memory is a beast, man. And you revert back to what you learned. So we will see what happens.
And I mean, counterpoint, some of our listeners might say is, well, they haven't learned anything because you saw how many explosive plays they've been giving up to guys that are wide open. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But best believe Del Rio, once he got fired on Black Friday, and the Dolphins were actually playing the Jets on Black Friday, I'm sure he was ecstatic, because we played the clip that Sam didn't know who he was playing this week after the Cowboys game, and you cut him some slack. But I'm sure Del Rio knew that the Dolphins were coming to town, that they put up 70 points on the Broncos, and that he was going to have to try and scheme up something. And now he's just sitting at home, getting paid, cashing those checks, and doesn't have a damn thing to do. I mean, he's the winner here, not us.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think he's at home. I think he's in Bermuda or somewhere, man, just with a drink with an umbrella in it. That's what I would be doing. I'd be on my PJ out of here and maybe look at the highlights or lowlights, however you want to look at it, of the game. But no, I wouldn't be at home. But I got what you're saying. And as far as cutting Sam some slack, hey, man, he just got his head bashed. So he didn't. The fact of the matter is, he doesn't care who we play next. Just get me out of this situation. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm helping the Commanders out with the Toys for Tots program. A couple of them are reaching out like, "Oh, hope you had a happy Thanksgiving," and I wanted to reply back to them, Well, like, I was happy until that game started, until the first quarter. But I left it out of there. It is what it is. Like, I didn't have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't put that in your email. My Thanksgiving was because of this team. Excuse my language. But it's fine. And the magic number is 5. So
yeah, $5 foot long, baby. Subway. That's right.
I miss those days, man. They don't offer that damn anymore.
They don't. But you know what though? We can petition for them to bring it back because we've got 5 left, baby. So let's do what we got to do.
Well, the good news is we don't have a game after this week until New Year's Eve. So
that's right.
I mean, you're going to be on the road smoking and joking, living it out in LA, and going up to New York. No, well, so LA, and then we got the bye week, and then we got the Jets on Christmas Eve. So
actually we got the bye then LA, right?
Yeah, bye then LA.
By then LA, yeah.
Hopefully, you're going to hang out in LA for a couple of days and enjoy that warm weather, man.
Oh, brother, say less. Of course I am. I mean, I am ready. I've got a lot of people who are ready to get out of this DC funk and go to LA and cut back. And you know what they say, what happens in LA stays in LA.
Or that's Vegas. But yeah.
But
I know.
That's Vegas, but trust and believe we're gonna cut the fool in LA, and I really can't wait.
I'm looking forward to seeing. If you see Jack on the beach, buy him a drink with an umbrella for me, man. He's going to help us get that better draft pick this year.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping that one of the owners can come to the rally, even though I'm not saying that they are. Before any listeners say, I heard Rally say that one of the, I said I'm hoping that my fingers are crossed, since Magic Johnson. You just never know, So I'd love to see him and chop it up with him and shake his hand, like I've always said. So we'll see. Hopefully somebody does come to the rally, because if little old me can get Channel 9 to come to the rally in Dallas, surely somebody can come support the squad, at least for one rally.
So is this a rally, or is this a Commanders rally?
This is a Commanders rally.
Okay.
But at the same time, and because it's a Commanders rally, I feel as though someone from the brass should come and see what the rallies are all about. And you know what? I'm even willing to host it.
You know what you should do?
I'm listening.
Tweet them the video of the rally that you did in Dallas. And for those that haven't seen it, check out Rally's Instagram. WUSA9. Was it Desmond?
Yeah.
Desmond followed. Yeah, he followed Rally around for the game back at FedEx and out in Dallas. Tweet them that video, man. Send that to them. So let's see what really goes on at a rally. And knocking Macy and the team, they're just starting it back up. So they got to get their legs underneath them. Like, Rivera hasn't called defensive play since 2019. The team hasn't had a rally since 2019. So, they're still trying to, just putting that out there. But you have been doing this for quite some time, and you never slowed down and stopped. So let them see what it's supposed to be like, because what you did in Dallas compared to some of the stuff that's happened lately, night and day, man.
Well, it's my passion.
That's me saying it, not you.
Yeah, that's my passion. And so because of it, when you're passionate about something, you want to make sure that it goes without a hitch. So the title is in my name already. So just I'm going to pitch to them to go ahead and let me host it and go from there. We'll see what they say.
Well, that was an awesome video. And once again, those that haven't seen it, go to Rally's Instagram, Rally_Captain. Make sure you put the underscore. The Rally Captain guy, don't know who the hell he is, but the underscore's key inside there. And you'll get a chance to see the behind the scenes video that they made of him out there, and a bunch of Commanders fans and a couple of Cowboys fans that were out at that rally in Texas. But it looked like a good time, man. Regardless of what happened in the game, still looked like you guys had a good trip.
Oh, yeah, man. And shout out to the bar that we had, because I think that's going to be our rally bar from here on out, because it's a huge venue.
It's got room, yeah.
The only thing that I got to get with them is making sure that their microphone works, so you don't have to shout over everyone, because that was hard on my throat, brother. It really was.
You got to
But
save it
yeah,
for game day, man. I hear
exactly. So man, let's get into this thing, man. Let's talk
So
about this.
speaking of game day, and Nikki Javala had an article in the Washington Post talking about since 2010, there have been 8 teams that had defensive coordinators who were fired midseason. And out of those 8 teams, only one team got worse. And that was the 2012 Eagles. We talked about why Del Rio hadn't been fired yet, because they had no one on the staff other than Juan Castillo that could call plays other than Rivera. Well, that 2012 team of the Eagles was when Castillo got fired. And at that point, didn't do too well. But most teams held opponents to fewer yards per game. They also allowed fewer points. So there's a potential bright side of Del Rio not being here and Ron simplifying the actual defense. And this is actually what Ron had to say about trying to get a better pass rush going for that front four.
Ron, what are some of the things you can do to help the front create more pressure?
Well, I think, we've got to look at some movements as far as those guys up front are concerned, and give them an opportunity to create some one-on-ones for our tackles. That's one thing we've noticed is, there's been a little bit more, obviously, attention being paid to our defensive tackles, both Jonathan and Duran. So we've got to try and create some situations where they end up getting singled up a little bit more, and hopefully that'll help them.
I mean, keeping it simple in regards to giving those guys just an easier go at it. And I'm not surprised that they're getting double teamed more. You don't have Chase, you don't have Tez over there. FA's out. Looking at the injury report, I think James Smith-Williams is on it right now. We're thin. We don't have a ton of depth, and he's partially to blame for that, just because this roster's his baby. And secondary-wise, Emmanuel Forbes is out. They talked about him having to get looked at by, I want to say, a doctor at a certain point. So it's going to be tough. And this week, we all know Miami, just if you guys play fantasy football or if you just watch the headlines, their offense is no joke. So Ron has his work cut out for him right now. This actually isn't the first time that he has taken over defensive play calling duties. We know he did it back in 2018, but he got his start. I had no idea. Back in 2008, when he was the linebackers coach for the Chargers, Norv Turner fired his defensive coordinator, and Ron got promoted from LB coach up to DC. And after that happened, Ron and the team went 5-3 after starting off 3-5. So we'll see.
Okay, 2008, you said, huh?
2008. Yeah, it's been some time, and
that's when they had leather helmets, right?
I think that was the single bar on the face mask.
The Joe Theismann.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Well, you know what, man? In all honesty, Ted, I all jokes aside, I think that what you may see is a invigorated defensive squad. I think that they can play free now, and they realize that the end is near. And why not go out with the bang with the guy that brought you on board? So that could be the case. I am really interested to see how they bounce back as men first, team second, because that's going to show did you quit? How many guys quit? How many guys tapped out? And we'll see, because now the adversity is set in, and there's no more scapegoat. Del Rio was a scapegoat. Now, what are you going to be able to do, man on man? And so I'm looking forward to it. So this could be a better game than what we think, in all honesty.
To me, make it respectable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let us get embarrassed like we did against Dallas. I don't want to see the Dolphins pulling out some mahi-mahi tacos from the sideline or something because Tyreek just ran on us or whatever. No one is expecting us to win this game. Mm-hmm. Just don't get boat raced and embarrassed at home.
Yeah.
I think I told the story. Mrs. Tailgate is 1-3 this season. She's 1-4 this season. So she's not coming anymore, right? I'm bringing someone that's new. We got to get some better luck inside the house, And I'm not sure who you've been bringing in the past couple home games, but maybe we leave them out in the parking lot, man. Maybe they just hang out at the tailgate. We don't shut it down because we need some new, fresher blood inside there.
Now you just slapped Miss Captain all in the face. You know she is not having that, brother.
I'll make some collard greens, man. She can hang outside. Sure, I know she enjoys them.
Unless she goes to the suite with those collard greens. Maybe that's the only way, but I don't think that's gonna be good enough. And also they're talking about the R word, rain.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that one, man. It'd be nice to just get through a tailgate. I think it's gonna be earlier in the morning. So hopefully it won't be so bad, but I'm definitely going to be chugging those don't sleeps, and I will have a poncho on or something to keep me dry. But
yeah,
my curiosity is, it's not going to be like riding a bike. We've all seen Ron stand on the sidelines with his arms crossed, doing absolutely nothing. So how easy can it be for him to get back in the play calling duties? And this is what he had to say about it.
Ron, obviously you've called defensive plays before, but how long does it take to get back into a rhythm of calling the plays? Well,
I think the biggest thing is, just paying attention and watching the game tape and really just, taking the notes from each game that we've had this year. I think it's just a matter of getting a sense and a feel for what our guys do best. And, that will come on, as each game unfolds, it has its own personality, and then you've got to be able to match that personality with what you're calling and how you're calling it.
Not only that, he's going to stay at a Holiday Inn Express the night before, so he's going to be good to go.
Hey, if that's what it takes, I'll pick him up and drop him off. I'm sure there's one in Baltimore that he can stay. He can actually have my ticket to the concert and then stay at the Holiday Inn Express and then come out to the game. But it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it, but more importantly, how the team handles it, because they've had Del Rio in their ear for so long. And Del Rio's coaching style versus Rivera's coaching style, I'm sure, is completely different. And I went back and looked at some old stuff on Ron when he was at DC and when he was in Chicago and then when he was calling plays for the Panthers. And scheme-wise, feel like they were completely different, but it's also different teams and different personnel. So he was telling Nicky Javala during his presser that it's apples to oranges. You can't really compare. But Del Rio had the easier part of the schedule. So it's going to be somewhat, and this is me saying it, unfair to Ron, because he's going to have to deal with, the new greatest show on turf with the Dolphins, even though they play on grass down there. And I'm sorry, but LA still has a damn good coach calling plays for him. And did you see today that Aaron Rodgers, they just started his 21-day clock?
Yeah, I saw that. Now, whether he actually plays or not, that's something different. But normally when they start the clock, they are expecting you to play. So that's going to be very interesting. And the bus trip, by the way, is still going on for anybody who wants to ride up and possibly get the opportunity to see Aaron. But hey, man, Ted, the future is bright. That's all I'll say. The future is so bright, and the sun is shining. And speaking of the sun, the temperature is going to be 50-something degrees on Sunday. I think the high is 58. So if that rain can get out of here and let that sun come out, man, we could be in for something good. Like you said, just be respectful.
I just want to be entertained, man. You mentioned it a couple weeks back. I just want to be entertained. And it's about the experiences. To me, Sunday, I already got the bottle of champagne. Like I said, we're going to pop it. We're going to make a toast and celebrate that Snyder's gone until the end of the season, because that to me is what this season has been about. And I'm going to hang out with 200 strangers at the tailgate, and we're going to eat some arroz con pollo. We're going to have some chorizo. We're going to have just a bunch of Cuban food, and it's going to be a good time and make it respectable. And
okay,
don't let them put up 75. They put up 70 against the Broncos. Just keep it under that, and I'll be happy.
Man, see, you put me on a roller coaster. I was going up, feeling good about the chorizo, and all of a sudden you said 70 points, and you brought me back down.
I mean,
but the experience is what on a serious note, the experience is what you really got to look forward to. And and like you said, man, just don't do us dirty. Don't do us dirty.
Yeah. And a story came out on the 26th, which to me, this wasn't news. I kind of want to get a job for CBS Sports because these guys are so far behind everybody else. Jonathan Jones came out with this, talking about widely assumed Commanders will fire Ron Rivera after season, and Washington could be looking for new GM as well. I mean, Ron has been in charge of everything. You've got Marty Herney, who's the GM, and Martin Mayhew. So Ron brought them here. Of course, they're going to be looking for a new GM. I don't know. It just boggles my mind how these guys think that this is news, but Ron is going to be gone at the end of the year. You had the hypothetical of what happens if we win out or something. It ain't happening. So at the end of the season, Ron's going to be gone. We asked our listeners, do you want EB to have a shot? And a bunch of them chimed in and sent us some text messages. So this one is from Joe, and I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name, Joe, but Joe's a longtime Washington football fan. He actually comes out and hangs out the tailgate. I'm sure you met him before. He texted, Sam Howell has progressed well this season, and you need to give Eric Bieniemy credit for that. There will be a ton of changes to the coaching staff for sure, but Bieniemy needs to be on the new coaching staff that will come in and continue to make Howell better. What do you think about that? Bieniemy needs to be on the new coaching staff.
If you're going to keep Sam, there's a big part of me that says yes. But if you're not going to keep Sam, then I think that whoever this new coach that comes in, because we know that he's not married to Sam. So whoever this new coach that comes in wants to bring their own guy in, we're going to see what happens. But definitely, if Sam is the man, then I say try to keep EB, because the only way that you're really going to get some type of consistency is for somebody to stick around a year or two or three. Now, after that, if it still doesn't work, then okay, you got my blessing to do what you got to do. But I honestly believe that you got to have consistency in this league. I mean, very rare will you get the whole one-hit wonder type of thing. But we've seen under this type of program or offense, if you will, offensive play calling, that the guys have a better understanding after the second year. And I just think that is going to help him.
Yeah, it'll be Sam's, if a new OC comes in, new coach comes in, it'll be Sam's third offensive coordinator in 3 years. And we actually got this text from, his name is Big Hoss, is what he texted in. And he said, I would like to see Bieniemy be head coach and see if we can get Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. So don't know anything about Mike McDonald. Sure, he's a nice guy. I know the Ravens got a good defense. I hate purple. I hate Baltimore. Could care less. But, if Big Hoss says he should come here, then, hey, I'll do my research later and see if it's going to happen. But a lot of these people, I think, are kind of have the same mentality that you were saying. Well, Sam has progressed. He's doing better. And if we want to continue to see him do better, then let's keep Bieniemy here. And we got this from James Hart, saying it is imperative for the Commanders to act ethically and provide Eric Bieniemy with a fair opportunity during the interview process. However, if he is not the suitable candidate, they should hire the individual who is most qualified for the job. It is crucial that the decision is not influenced by personnel connections or someone's present circumstances. And to me, I don't think that there are any personal connections with Bieniemy. He was hired by Dan Snyder. He was brought in at that point in time by the old regime, who is all gone. He was brought in here by Ron Rivera almost as a favor to Andy Reid at that point. So I don't think any of that's going to happen. Here's my thing. There are a ton of, first, I want an offensive-minded head coach. I do not want a defensive-minded head coach. And Neil Greenberg for the Washington Post was talking to B. Mitch and Finley today about it, how offensive-minded head coaches, those teams actually tend to do better than defensive-minded head coaches. On top of the fact that Ron's been a defensive-minded head coach, and we still don't have a linebacker on this team, he played linebacker, and he still couldn't figure it out, and Bieniemy was a running back and we still have a horrible running game. I don't know. Maybe it is what it is, but I personally want an offensive-minded head coach. And to me, if you were to bring in an offensive head coach, if the GM were to select someone like Ben Johnson, who is the popular hot name from the Detroit Lions right now, he's famous for calling plays right now for the Lions. So where does Bieniemy fit in that hierarchy? Because this guy's going to be the head coach. He's going to want to call his own plays. He's going to want to have his playbook that made him successful, that also got him this job as a head coach. So where does Bieniemy fit there? And that's the part where a lot of the local shows here in this area, and I got our Spotify Wrapped. Dude, we've got listeners in Germany that are listening to this thing. It's crazy. And I'll learn thank you in German one of these days. But, you know, those that aren't here, there are a lot of stations that bring up the fact.
Isn't it Duncan Shane?
Isn't that a song by that guy from Vegas?
It's still, I believe, thank you, Duncan Shane. Yeah.
Well, Duncan Shane to all of our, I feel like I'm saying donkey when I say that.
Well, we got you, bro. We got you.
If we play in Germany next year, I'm buying you guys a beer. All of you guys out there that are listening, when we go out there next year, as long as John Allen doesn't do an Ask Me Anything and talk about a certain dictator again, hopefully we get to go out there. But it's, where is Bieniemy going to fit? And that's what concerns me with Howell's growth and Bieniemy being tied at the hip. And I don't know if he's going to have a fit if we go with an offensive-minded head coach. And this is actually what Sam had to say about him and Eric growing together.
Bieniemy's also in his first year as a full-time offensive coordinator. So I'm just curious for you, how you have seen maybe you and he grow together throughout this process, and what changes maybe you've seen in him from the start of the season to now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing a really good job. I think, lately he's been calling games really, really well, and I think he's starting to get a really good feel for, how to be successful with the talent that we have here. And I just think I've seen him get better and better each and every week. Obviously, us players got to do our job. We got to take better care of the football. We got to execute better on certain situations. But I think he's doing a really good job. He's growing as a leader, as an OC throughout the season, as he's done probably his whole career. But he's just gotten better every single week, and he continues to work so hard. So it's fun to play for him.
So I hear what Sam is saying, but I got to tell you, man, I think that as much new school that EB has, he's got to bring in some old school, man. And what I mean by that is, it's 3rd and 1 and you're in shotgun, single back set. I want to see some old eye. Give me that fullback, give me that tailback, let that fullback run in there and be the lead blocker, clear out the block, and let the running back get the first down. I understand that at some point in time, you got to trick the other team or make them think that you're going to do something and then you do something differently. Well, you can do that exact same thing from old school eye. I mean, I think that we shot ourselves in the foot by having the linemen that we were dealt not being able to block the way that they needed to create that push. I mean, sometimes we did, but a lot of times we didn't. And so for me, if by chance next year, and no, how about this? He's got an opportunity to show it this year. So if by chance that your line is having issues, then bring in that fullback to help your line, and that's what bothers me. Or even what do they call that formation? We ran it a lot.
Bring in an extra tight end, bring in a lineman at that point that'll help you block. Which the thing is, they have done it in the past. In the past this season. And Bieniemy, I feel, forgets things that worked in previous games for whatever reason and doesn't go back to it. And I can't remember. I think it was Doc Walker that was talking about how Joe Gibbs would call a play 2 or 3 times, knowing it wasn't working, just to set you up with the okie doke off of that play. Right. And I feel that you see that with Kyle Shanahan. I feel that you see that with Sean McVay out in LA. I don't feel we see that with this Bieniemy offense. And for me, it's not a home run that Bieniemy stays here as offensive coordinator, just because of what we have seen the past couple of weeks. And this is from Reggie, one of our loyal listeners, said here, "Hey fellas, I wanted to chime in on the next coaching staff. I'd like EB to remain with this team. I'm not sure how the new GM does that without interviewing him and others, but we've not had an aggressive offense in decades. Match that with an aggressive DC, and we should win more games. Granted, we need a new offensive line, linebackers, DBs, but yeah, keep EB and get aggressive in talent acquisition. But EB is, to me, I don't know if it's more focused on trial by fire with Sam and all the other plays and positions be damned, because we know Sam is leading the league in pass attempts.
Still is?
Yeah, I think he still is.
Wow.
For a first, and we haven't had our bye week yet, so that could be a big part of it. But for a first-year quarterback, and I understand he played before, but realistically, he played one game and he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But for a first-year quarterback to lead the league in passing attempts, to me, it's not right. You've got to balance it out a little bit because, yes, Sam is leading the league with 486 attempts. You're doing him a disservice because you are becoming super predictable to the point of the defense. It's a gamble. They're gambling that we're throwing the ball. So they're just running at him, coming at him full speed. And Sam has improved a ton and he's recognizing things. But I feel from a play calling perspective, he's not helping out. And I went back and looked at the stats. So 2022, we were 21st in the league in passing with 204 yards per game. Right now, we're 9th in passing at 247. I'm not shocked. We throw the ball a hell of a lot more than we run the ball.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be one of the things that the new general manager slash head coach or whoever's going to be interviewing him will be asking him, hey, why didn't you run the ball more? Why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? Because we know that we have a new analytical guy, and he is just using those data centers up in Ashburn, just printing out all kinds of statistics and matrices and trying to figure out why this is going on. So if he hasn't already been asked these questions, so that's what he's going to have to answer, man. And I for one I will never hear it, but I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see or hear what his responses and answers would be for it.
As far as running, in 2022, we were 12th with 126.1 yards per game. Right now, we're 25th with 96.8. And if you look at the team stats, we actually are dead last in the league with 32% plays being run plays. So 32% of the time, we're running the ball. The other times, and this is skewed because, penalties, stupid stuff like that. It's 2nd and 20 because someone was holding, so they want to go to a pass play versus a run play. So I get that. And I understand those people out there that say the short passing game is just equivalent to a run game. And I'm going to disagree with you. There are times, just like you mentioned, 3rd and 1, you're trying to outthink yourselves. And next thing you know, you're getting stopped on 3rd and 1. You're getting stopped on 4th and 1 because you're running out of shotgun. And it's those things that drive me crazy and make me not sold on Bieniemy, because I can talk myself into cutting Bieniemy some slack because of how bad this offensive line is. But when he calls some of the plays he calls, I talk myself back into being, I just want to start from scratch. We're all going to have because going with what you said, let's just see how it goes for a year to keep Sam there. Your head coach is probably going to get a 4 to 5 year contract. That's just typically how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you just waste an entire year. And usually that last year doesn't count for anything. So, you said you were going to give them a year to kind of rebuild and do this. I said I'd give them maybe 2 to 3 years. But if you want to keep Bieniemy here with a brand new head coach coming in, do you think that year kind of makes it another limbo one?
Definitely do. And what I don't want to happen is we all remember Jason Campbell. I believe Jason Campbell would have been one of the best quarterbacks if he didn't have basically 4 different coordinators, 4 different. It's just I think he had 4. There's just no way.
He definitely had a couple, but he had such a long release. It took him a while to get that ball out of his hand.
It did, but it didn't help having that many coordinators, and that's what I don't want that to happen. We at some point in time we got to have some consistency. That's all I'm saying, and maybe whoever this new person that's going to come in, they may see something that we as fans just don't see, and they may say, we appreciate it, but your services are no longer needed. It could happen, and it could happen with Sam as well. We like you, but we don't love you, and so we've seen it many times, and I'm just afraid that I don't want it to be all for naught. That's all I'm saying. I think that if you're going to keep Sam, keep EB, but you got to be able to rein him in. Whoever the head coach, or if he's the head coach or whatever, somebody's got to be able to rein him in and give him that elbow and say, run the damn ball. You know, he talks about that coach that sent him the hat or whatever have you, run the T-shirt, run the ball. Well, you got to do that, son. I mean, you have to. And so
I got an idea.
I think what happens though, Ted, in all honesty, I think what happens is that he wants to run the ball. But then when that run gets stuffed, he's like, God dang it, pass the ball. I really believe that's how he feels, that he wants to run the ball, but when we have the linemen that we have that are getting overpowered, that throws that run out of the window, and he feels that he could probably give his quarterback 2 extra seconds that he needs to throw that slant or to throw that other pass, whatever have you. So I think that's how he's looking at it.
But running the ball out of shotgun isn't giving your running back a true chance to actually gain any yards. And Brian Robinson is averaging 4 yards a carry. If we were running in a traditional run formation that would be better for his talents, I think it'd be a hell of a lot better production out of Brian. We know Brian can run. I just feel that we're doing him a disservice from a play calling perspective in the situations where they're giving it to him. Mm-hmm. And then there are times when they put in the new guy and brought him in. I want to say Gore. I can't remember his name. When it was 1st and goal on the 7 back at FedEx against the Giants. And in that instance, you just got the wrong running back in. I mean, I don't understand what's going on. And I hear you on the consistency piece. We definitely need to have consistency. But this offense, to me, hasn't blown me away. Looking at points per game, we talked about it. You wanted us to get 27 points a game, right? We were 24th last year with 18.9. We're 20th this year with 20.5. We're not that far off points per game wise than what we were last year. So Sam is definitely pitching that thing up and down the field, and he's doing a good job. I just think that without that balance, it's just making it more difficult on everybody else. And our 3 and outs, the defense is getting tired. You know, they've got to go back out there again and do this and do that. So it's a snowball effect. And if we had a more balanced attack, and hey, 32% of run plays, make it 40% instead of 32, and keep the defense a little bit honest, because right now, going back and watching the Dolphins film, I watched the Kansas City game, I watched a bunch of the other games that they played, they definitely keep a balance and keep you off your feet. You don't know what's coming next because they have a ton of misdirection, reverses, they're going pistol. Next thing you know, Tua is holding on to it. They just it's actually fun to watch, but I'm guessing unless they're playing your team, because
it's fun to watch unless they're playing the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to the Eagles, but it was still fun to watch them do some of those razzle-dazzle plays and, see them beat up on the Patriots and seeing them, take it to the Giants. It was definitely, interesting to see. But I just feel that Bieniemy, yes, it's his first year, but he's still too stubborn. And we actually got this one from Adam Jumpkins, said, I think they should hire Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh because he's a really good head coach. And I also think that Josh Harris is going to clean house and getting rid of Rivera and Bieniemy and just getting a whole new staff. Because let's be honest here, Bieniemy isn't that great either and hasn't been for us. So why should we keep him? So those are my thoughts, and I can't wait to hear you talk about it. But to me, magic number 5, right? He is auditioning. This is Bieniemy's audition, and Sam is going to be here next year no matter what because he's under contract. They're not getting rid of him. So this is Bieniemy auditioning to see, is he going to be able to get a job? And who knows? He might not even want to stick around. He might get a head coaching offer someplace else in that point, and not sure what's going to happen. But I thought it was a slam dunk for me earlier at different times, watching different games. And then this past week against Dallas, putting up 10 points and the offense just stalling. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about him. I don't know if I just want to hand him the reins and let him take over.
You bring up some good points. I mean, I see the points from all different directions. And also the new head coach, even though Sam is under contract, his rookie contract, the new head coach, as I said, may want to, depending on where we draft or where we move up, may want to bring in his person.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and Sam will still be there, but he just maybe not be the starter. So we'll see, man.
Or he may start and give, this rookie some time to mature behind him at that point. And I'd be fine with that because we all know what Sam can do. And the kid is tough, man. I mean, the only bet I might hit for the Commanders is my season-long Sam 5 rushing touchdown bet. So I'm cheering him on. And actually, I had an idea, right? So your front row, instead of the big W, can we get you to wear a sign around your neck that says "Run the damn ball"?
I think I can still wear my W and hold the sign. I think we can do that. That might be a possibility. I'm gonna have to go to one of these little craft stores and get some board and marker and do that.
It'll be interesting. I mean, if you need some help, I'll have people at the tailgate. We can have all the fans sign underneath the "Run the damn ball." So this way, Bieniemy knows that the fan base actually wants him to do it. But I'm looking forward to seeing, because I've been thinking to myself, we've had seasons like this over the past 20 years. Like, why are we still watching? Well, I'm watching to see what Sam can do, and I'm watching to see what this offense can do and what Bieniemy can morph it into. That's what I want to see the rest of the year. I mean, the defense, to me, they're a lost cause. And I hate to say that, but they just are. We know what they are. They're not good. And these linebackers, other than Jamin Davis, probably aren't going to be here next year. The secondary, I'm pretty disappointed with what our secondary is. And Cam Curl wanting to get that big contract, he's not doing himself any favors right now. But, that's not on him. It's on a bunch of other guys. And Rivera was blaming it on Cody Barton being out, blaming it on Defoe getting hurt. Well, it's the football. It's the NFL. Players get hurt. It happens. Next man up. And the next man up, it's not working. And going against this 8-3 Dolphins team, where do you think they are on the NFL power rankings list?
Power rankings. They have the top offense.
They've got the number 2 passing offense. And let's see here. The first in yards total, second in rushing, and number 2 points per game.
So am I still got 0.5 on the curve, or this is straight up and down?
Let's go with a plus or minus 3.
Okay. I'm going to say they're number 2. I'm going to go with 2.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer. No lifeline needed. Number 2.
You were close, man. You were close. They are 6th. So they've actually been 6th since week 9. They actually got up to 3rd in week 9, and they just kept him at 6th. But it says here, Black Friday turned dark when Jalen Phillips went down with a season-ending Achilles injury. That shouldn't negate the progress the Dolphins' defense has made since about week 8, nor should it dismiss the 7 sacks, 2 interceptions, and momentum-changing 99-yard touchdown Vic Fangio's defense collected in the thrashing the Jets. The run defense and pass rush have been unquestionable strengths, and Phillips was a big part of that. He's certainly not an easy player to replace either. That said, it was encouraging that Emmanuel Ogbah, a disappointment since his massive extension in March, had perhaps his best game of the season Sunday. Bradley Chubb has come on too, as has Andrew Van Ginkel. The secondary is starting to play lights out. So while the Phillips loss is big, Miami's ascending defense shouldn't just fall off a cliff with a stud edge rusher. So I'm not used to Miami's defense being this good. I mean, their offense is lights out. Their defense is 6th in the league, giving up 92.8 yards per carry. I mean, we don't have to worry about that. We don't run the ball. So, they should stay at 6. Passing wise, they're 11th. They give up 212 yards in the air. Points per game, they're actually 23rd. So they've been giving up a decent amount of points at 22.8. So teams have been able to score on them. Looking at this, the Panthers put up 21. The Bills put up 48 on them. The Eagles put up 31 against them, right? The Chiefs put up 21 against them. So, I mean, they're giving points up. So their defense isn't, I don't want to say the best out there. We got a chance. The problem is we can't settle for field goals because we're a field goal miss away from a Cheeseman a high snap to the point of that drive for 10 minutes being nothing.
That's the issue. They're making it up on the front half with the offense and hoping that the defense bends but doesn't break. That's what I'm getting from what you're saying, because I haven't really watched many Miami games or any Miami games to as a matter of fact. So Ted, I think that there is a chink in the armor. You said it. So we've got an opportunity to do something, and if the stats say it, we just got to figure out a way to get it done. Will it happen? It's going to be hard. I'm not going to be Larry Michael and say with skin tangibles, but man, I always just feel as though there's always a way.
Any given Sunday, man. I mean, you have to line up and play the game. So on paper, I feel that we're going to get killed. I just
blowing out the water. Yeah,
I don't know what to expect. And Miami actually leads the league with 100 explosive plays this season. And explosive plays means a pass that's 16 yards or more, or a run that's at least 12 yards. And they've got a league high of 37 plays of 25 yards or more. And our defense leads the league in 98 explosive plays allowed this season. 38 of them have been for 25 yards or more. So, you would think Miami's going to boat race us. But going back to what Rivera said earlier, he's trying to simplify this defense. The players aren't passing guys off to each other. If that's your guy, that's your guy. And
you got him.
I think not having Emmanuel Forbes this week is going to be a huge downside. I don't know if the kid's going to play because it's only Wednesday. But one thing Forbes has is speed. So if he knows that I'm on you like glue, then at that point you would think he could keep up with these guys because, man, they've got some speedy receivers there.
So what's actually going on with Forbes? I mean, I know it's something to deal with his arm or elbow or something, right?
I think his elbow got dislocated or popped out or something during one of those games, and it came out, and he's had a problem ever since. And right now, I'm looking at Miami's receivers. You got Jalen Waddle, who's no joke. You got Tyreek Hill, and you got Braxton Barrios. So, I mean, Tyreek and Waddle, who's going to cover those guys? Benjamin St. Juste is not a speed guy. He's a power guy. And Tyreek is like our Curtis Samuel, lining up all over the place in the backfield, going in motion. They got a ton of pre-snap motion on their offense. So it's being able to keep up with those guys. And from a running back perspective, at least Achane, I think, isn't going to be there. I think he's hurt right now. So we've got Raheem Mostert to go up against. But Mostert, he's no slouch either. And the thing that really is nerve-wracking is how many EIs is 2.3 seconds? Because that's what Tua is averaging on getting the ball out in 2.3 seconds.
That's EI throw.
Yeah. There's not a lot of old McDonald's inside there. I mean, the guy is so this defensive line is going to have to get their hands up and try and bat some balls down. And
disrupt those passing lanes. Yeah.
Be happy you did not watch any of the Dolphins film, because Tua, when he's holding it longer than 2.3 seconds, he's like a ballerina back there, man. Just going one side and spinning and making these defensive ends and these linebackers just look like fools diving at him. And he's just slipping around. And I almost was wondering, would it be better for rain, considering the footing might not be as good for this guy to run around on us? I don't know.
Wow, he's putting him on skates like that?
Yeah, man. He's definitely, and he's not running a ton in regards to just trying to use his legs. And I think that's because of the whole concussion thing he's had a problem with. He's just using his legs to buy time for plays when he needs to. But
a harm's
really,
way type of thing. Okay.
Exactly. He hasn't really been doing much else. I'm trying to pull up his rushing stats right now. Splits from a rushing perspective. Yeah, I mean, 27 carries here for 40 yards. He's not really running the ball a ton. So not a huge concern with him doing that. It's just staying home and full rushing is one. You know, the defense has talked about it. Scanina's talked about it. We've talked about it in the show. It's something we got a problem with. And it's something that I think they're going to take advantage of. And Ron, being a first-time play caller since 2019, it scares me this week, man.
Well, when you say it like that, it does. I mean, he's going to be rusty, but he could bring out some old Statue of Liberty type of plays. You never know, man. Dude, what we have on our side is surprise. And we have on our side that they may look past us for whoever the next opponent is. And like you said, it does happen every week. Anything is possible. I'm going to keep my fingers and toes crossed and hope for the best. You know, expect the worst, but hope for the best. And that way, I won't be that disappointed.
Yeah, they have a Monday Night Football matchup coming up after us against Tennessee. So maybe they'll be looking forward to that Monday night game. And they played on Black Friday. So we had an extra day of rest compared to them. But, you know, it's still a decent amount of time for them to hang out and relax. It's going to be interesting from a, you know, keys to the game perspective. What do we have to do to try and keep this respectable?
I say put grease on our uniforms. I say put grease on our uniforms. No, maybe some bad weather might actually be beneficial to us. But then again, those guys play in Miami where they always have sun showers, so that wouldn't mean anything, you know. So that's out the window. The only thing I think
slop though, so I don't know.
Another thing I think that may be able to help is if the temperature was to drop, because they don't like cold weather. But at this point, the keys to the game is they're going to have to play. The keys to the game are mistake-free football and 11 playing as one, man, or one playing as 11. However you want to look at it. That's what it's really going to take. As far as the coaches are concerned, I don't know how fast Ron will be able to snap back. But then again, it could be like riding a bicycle for him. You know, there's just so many unknowns right now. And there's a part of me that's dying to see it. And there's another part of me that's covering my eyes and kind of looking through my fingers.
You can't do that, man, because the camera's going to be on you, and there's going to be a shot that's going to go viral of Rally Captain covering his eyes because it's too tough to watch, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll say this, Ted, and we touched upon it earlier. This game, I'm really looking to see how they bounce back from adversity. I mean, because at this point, we kind of feel that, let's be real, we kind of feel they're going to get the doors blown off of them. Okay. So, but how do you snap back from adversity after the Thanksgiving debacle, after Del Rio being fired, after, you know, coach now calling the defensive plays, being a defensive coordinator / head coach? There's a lot of things that are pointed against you. How do you deal with the adversity? That's what's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I want to see if these guys have heart or are they going to pack it in? You know, everyone is auditioning for the new GM.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. John Allen, they could trade him away, change his contract up. Everybody is auditioning. I don't think anyone is untouchable at this point. So all of these guys got to put something on film, right? And this is why NFL teams don't tank. You cannot tank as an NFL team because these players, NFL contracts are not guaranteed. It's not the NBA where those contracts are guaranteed 100% no matter what. So these players got to prove that they still care. And I think it was Brian Mitchell, it could have been someone else, talking about how if guys towards the end of the season, when things weren't going well and you knew it was bad, they would just kind of fake an injury or pretend that their hammy was hurting or something was tweaked and not really be out there, want to give 100%. And to me, I'm not seeing that on the injury report. I mean, Tyler Larson didn't practice today. Rivera said that was kind of a veteran's day off. So the guys that are on there, I think it's warranted. I don't think anyone's phoning it in. You got James Smith-Williams got a hammy. We saw him pull up lame in that Cowboys game. So I want to see who wants to be here and who wants to fight for us next season. And for us to win this game, maybe Miami forfeits. But I mean, for us to win this game, you can't let this offense in Miami just run up and down and have these explosive plays. Because to me, those plays that they gave up during that Cowboys game, those are just like haymakers, man. And it just sucks the wind out of you at that point. And next thing you know, everyone's lost all faith. If they score in a minute, then you're sitting here thinking your offense isn't going to be able to drive down the field. If they can stop these explosive plays and make it kind of a puncher's chance, keeping it somewhat close, then yeah, we could potentially walk out of FedEx with a smile on Sunday. But if they can't stop those explosive plays, which Miami's leading the league in, then it's going to be a long day on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's not anything anybody can say differently. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
So from a don't sleep energy players of the week, who has to have that game?
I know this is unfair to say, but the whole defensive squad of the ball. I mean, that's just, they just do. And I've got to see what Ron does. And I know that's cheating, but when it comes down to it, playing against his powerhouse, we need the whole defense as well as the defensive coach. And even this new defensive back guy who came on board. We need him to jump right. We need him to jump right in.
Jim Salgado. He's a former Bills secondary coach. He's the interim defensive backs assistant. He was previously with Michigan State. He was a cornerback coach there and spent 6 seasons as a defensive assistant for the Bills. And he was also with Syracuse as a linebacker coach. I mean, I really don't know what he's going to do from a defensive perspective. Richard Rodgers is going to be the new senior defensive assistant safeties. He's going to assist with a game plan. And Christian Garcia, a third-year assistant, will be the interim DB coach. Garcia was a graduate assistant at UNLV. Then he moved to Georgia Tech, and he came here as a coaching intern in 2021. So I'm not holding my breath with him actually contributing much. And it's going to be interesting to see how the defense responds to Rivera calling the plays, because he said that he talked to the players to find out what they like. And I'm wondering, did Del Rio do that? Or did he just not give a damn?
Shove it down the throat.
Yeah. It's like, I'm the coach. You're running this no matter what. And obviously they weren't running it well. So Rivera knowing, or how much effort do you think Ron's going to give, knowing he's going to get fired and he's going to go on an SB events trip January 9th? I mean,
well, you know what? I think we're going to see more animated Ron, and I think that he's going to take the defense back to the caveman days. What I mean by the caveman days is see him, check him, see ball, get ball. break. There you have it.
Dude, I'm good with that, man. I mean, just to me, you ever watch what was the movie? Oh, I want to say it was The Replacements.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the plays during the movie, they just went into an all-out fight and just drop kick people and clothesline people before the snap. And I mean, there was like 15 penalty flags and everything else. And I know they obviously can't do that, but to me, just go back to old school smash mouth defense. I'm on you, you're on me. Punch him in the mouth, because Miami's going to have a game plan. But that old Mike Tyson saying, you got a game plan till you get punched in the face. Let's see what Miami can do with our defense, and if our defense can actually go back to an old slobber knocker football.
Well, we got basically 3 days in a wake up. I'm sorry, 2 days in a wake up. So
depending when you're listening to this, yeah,
depending on when we listen to it, but 2 days in a wake up, and I look forward to seeing it. I look forward to seeing you and everybody else and all the listeners. I can't wait. It's a Sunday football game, and as I said to Channel 9, once the clock strikes midnight, it's very hard for me to sleep. Even though
I'm right there with you.
Even though I'm not a player on the team.
Well, I'll be partying it up in Baltimore and listening to country music, and partying in air quotes. But prediction-wise, I'm not wearing boots, man. Prediction-wise, you getting some skin tangibles here? What are you thinking?
This is going to be the first game that you're going to hear me say that we probably will lose. And this is being realistic about things. Even though I hope we win, but it's going to be, we're in an uphill battle. And I think that guys will be ready for the bye. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with that. I don't think we're going to win this game. I don't know if we're going to cover the 9.5-point spread. I mean, maybe Miami tones it down a little bit. I don't know what to expect. I think for the rest of the year, I'd say maybe the Jets game would be the one that we would win. But now you got Rodgers coming back. Who knows how he's going to be? I'm not sure. But from my standpoint, make it respectable. And the more L's we rack up, the better draft pick we get. So that's the silver lining for me.
Play with pride, but play just enough to lose so we can get a better draft position.
There you go.
Well, hey, I hear the music playing in the background, which lets me know, as I say every week, this show is coming to a close. We appreciate you riding with us. Hi, Papi. We appreciate you riding with us because it means a lot. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully with the Commanders with the dub. But if they take an L, what did you do to offset the L? Did you enjoy your experience at least? That's what it boils down to. Hey, you rep it hard, you don't rep it at all. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted, 2-2. We're out.